Hello and welcome to your Freedom of Flow Contact Star Steve workshop. A Steve looks something like this: front Steve, back Steve, around, all the way back, around. The Steve we will break up into two main parts. The back Steve coming down the back of the arm, and the front Steve coming down the front of the body. Each Steve we will also break down into three main parts. So two parts breaking down the Steve, the front side and the back side, and three parts to a Steve. The easy way to break down a Steve is one arm, one part, neck wrap or front neck wrap, and third part, back of the arm or front of the arm. I feel the easiest to start with is the back Steve. So wherever we are, we want to start with our hand down for a back Steve. Some of the main aims is when we enter a Steve, we don't enter a Steve like this or like this, we enter straight. It is possible to enter on the 45 or even vertical, but that is a much more difficult variant. So what we're aiming for today is the most amount of space and the easiest pathway to gain control. So for a back Steve, we have the center point, one wrist away, one grip away from center, and for the back Steve, we have it to the back of our wrist. And we're just going to work on the first part of the back Steve. And all we do from here is we're twisting towards our back, so it comes out the back of our hand. We can catch here and just guide into our neck. And we can practice this many times over. Center point, one wrist away. The idea is that when we let go, the center point lands on our arm, and we're able to balance just by having that center point there. Again, once we get used to this, just by finding the pathway with our extra hand, we can start to get used to just seeing if we can allow it to travel there itself. Just working on this first part. Roll. We can find a trap if we've worked on traps before, or pinch points, 2 points. If you like, you can check out the pinch points video. Again, practice first one. Once we have our first part of the reverse Steve comfortable, we can then work on part 2 and 3 together. And part 2 and 3 is a neck wrap. Part 2, neck wrap. If you haven't done neck wraps, it's a prerequisite. Go check out the video for neck wraps. But if you have done or practiced neck wraps before, we can work with 2, open our arm, 3. Again, 2, 3, 2, and 3. Once we have drilled this, maybe at least 3 times complete here, and at least 3 times in a row complete here. 3 times in a row is what I say for a minimum. It would be nice to even do 10. It's about muscle memory and drilling it. So once we have 3 in a row for 1, 3 in a row for 2 and 3, finding that pathway, we can then start to bring it together. 1, 2, 3. This is our back Steve. Again, 1, 2, 3. Yep. Again, one wrist above center point. Try the other direction. Just getting our 1. Our 1. Once that's comfortable, practicing our 2 and 3. Again, 2 and 3. Once this is easy enough, 1, 2, 3, and catch. All we're looking to do is catch. Again, 1, 2, and 3. catch. Enjoy this. If you are struggling a little bit, you can even add a turn in, so it just creates a bit more space, a bit more time. Anytime we turn with a staff or a prop, we have more time and space to gain control. Turning with gives more control, more time and space because we're turning with the prop. It also adds an element. I would recommend really trying to find it stationary, but if you're struggling, feel free to find it with a turn and then come back to stationary. That is our back Steve, part 1, 2 and 3. Just coming to a catch. And the reason why we want to come to a catch is we want to start to bring together our front and our back Steve. But before we move on to that, we will start with section 2 of our video, the front Steve. Okay, our front Steve is very much like the back Steve. We want it to be let go on the vertical, not on the 45, not on the horizontal. It's a different kind of trick. It's a much more difficult technique. So again, like we had the back Steve, a little bit there, one grip length above center. Now for the front Steve, we have one grip length in front of center with the front of our hand. So one grip length in front. And the idea is again, very similar. We can even catch just for 1. So we're going to break it down in 1, 2 and 3. 1, again, letting go on the vertical, taking our thumb away. So our thumb's not in the way. We take our thumb out of the way so we can then drop it onto our arm, drop it onto the arm and allow it to come down the body. A few times we can just catch, bring it down onto the body. Again, once we've become used to that, just that idea of bringing that flow in. And one point I forgot to mention is it really helps to have the arm above the head, so it just creates that pathway coming down, and your arm wants to stay straight. We don't want to bend the arm. It starts to change the technique. It starts to, we can skip parts and we can jump. We really want to find it nice and flat, nice and straight, and the staff will do the work for you. That's what we're aiming for, is the staff to find the pathway and for us to have the most space possible so we can start to develop our own style. Okay, once we've worked on pathway 1 many times over, both arms, boom, down, pathway 1. If you want to stop, you can just stop there. Just getting used to pathway 1, it's very worthwhile, just getting used to this arm being straight, taking the thumb out and dropping it onto the arm there. It can also help to have just like a little toss onto the arm. But the main point is that we're taking the thumb out, we're not holding on, and we're just releasing so the staff can come down. Okay, once we've worked on part 1 of the front Steve, now we can work on 2 and 3. Now the pathway that the staff will get to will be here. So 2 and 3 is chest and arm. So front neck wrap, easy enough, front neck and down the arm. And just opposite to the start of section 1, opposite to section 1, our arm is up. Section 3, our arm is down. So we're going to think by pointing and opening to this direction. Open, 2 and 3. Center and open. Again, center across the chest, and then we just leave our arm open and let the pathway continue. And the staff will want to come down. Again, across 2, out and open 3. One more time. On our shoulder, a little bit above center. Center will come onto our chest and release. Get used to that. Get very comfortable with 1 first, 2 and 3 second, because putting them all together is definitely a step up. Okay, now we have 1, 2 and 3 drilled separately. Now we can bring them all together. We open, bring it in horizontal as you can, not at 45, not vertically, horizontal as you can, thumb out of the way, we open 1, 2, and 3. One direction, 1, 2, and 3. Other direction. Just getting used to this, back and forward, just drilling. We really want to be able to do this at least 3 times in a row. Let's aim for 10. That's when we know we're gaining some control and we're opening our body to allow the staff to find its natural pathway in a Steve. Okay, once reverse Steve is comfortable and front Steve is comfortable, we're going to look to bring them together, combine into a full Steve. You can enter either through a front Steve or a back Steve, it makes no difference. And in the end, we're going to want to enter both directions, both ways, to really gain full control over this great core concept. Okay, I will enter in a front Steve, around catch, into our reverse, our back Steve, around catch, front Steve, catch, reverse, whoop, catch, catch. If your center point's a little bit off, that's okay. That's why we're stopping, just to make sure we start from the right point. One grip length behind the back of our hand, and around again. Catch. I lost a little bit of control, that's okay. I'll take a catch, and I'll bring it back in for a really nice controlled variation. Controlled Steve. So now we've started to bring that together, and I'll illustrate the catch again. It's quite simple. We're going to come into our back Steve on the opposite direction. Yeah, we can even gain a bit of control by pausing. Catch, find vertical, and back into a front Steve. Catch, gain control, back into a back Steve. Catch, front, catch, back. You will notice sometimes the staff will go a little bit more away from horizontal, 30, 45. It is possible, it is just more challenging. So we really want to aim for that vertical to find a comfortable home to begin with. Let me show that catch. I don't know if I showed it well enough. So around the back, continue. Ooh. Catch. Wherever you can find it, it'll come down from the back of your hand. You can even practice the catch and even guide it just to make it nice and easy. Catch, low, up to high. It'll want to travel down your arm. Low we catch, up to high, gain control of center, and back again we go. Oop, a little bit out of control. So this is our front and back Steve combined whilst grabbing for the connection point. There's many other ways of doing this. We can do this with a propeller. We can do this with prayer. They're the two main other ways. If you haven't done any prayers or any propellers, check out the other core concepts videos on prayer and propellers. There's many variations. If you haven't done them, that's okay. You can just keep drilling this one until you are ready to take on another concept. I will give a little demonstration of some of the options using propeller, and a propeller is where it just propels around the wrist. Yeah, so we propel around into our Steve at the front, propeller around to go into the back. Sorry, lost control. So again, we can do it, we'll just start from simple. Front Steve, propeller, back Steve, propeller, back, front, and back. And this was a little sloppy, but it's all about coming from a nice balanced center point. If you're trying this and having difficulties, again, turn with it. Give yourself a little bit more time, a little bit more control. Yep, this is from Steve front and back with a propeller. We can also do this with a double propeller. Double propeller. Double propeller. Whoop, did I get it? Yes, I did. We can even practice this whilst going back the other way. So that was a little change I did. Propeller, Steve, front, back, front, back. Yeah, and just getting used to this motion of down to up, down to up, and we can really start to feel in tune with our beautiful contact staff. As I said, one variation from prayer. So prayer around. This is just praying through our back steve into a prayer. Into a prayer propeller. We can do this whilst keeping our hands together as I'm doing. I find this one a little bit more difficult. Or we can pray and open back up. Oops, sorry. Prayer, open back up, prayer, open back up. And just like the other propeller, we can do a double here, double propeller into our steve. Woo. A little bit lost. Woo. Found some good ones there. Very funny. Nice way to finish. Enjoy. Please send through any questions. Let me know if you enjoyed. This was Freedom of Flow, contact staff, front and back steve combined with a few different variants. Have a great day. Much love from me, Rapper.